And welcome everyone to the October 2024 Evergreen Cataloging Interest Group. I am Jennifer Weston, facilitator of this fine group, and on behalf of the members of the organizing committee, whose names are listed at the top of the agenda as always, we welcome you. I don't see any new names, but if there happen to be any new people joining us today, you are most certainly welcome here, as everyone is that is interested in cataloging in Evergreen. We have kind of an unofficial agenda, as in there's no actual program today. We're going to be looking at Feedback Fest and just looking at 314. And there is a question we want to talk about with the Enhanced Mark Editor. We do have some standing agenda items I'll run through ever so quickly. And our notes should now be open to everyone who has access to the agenda. You can take notes as we go along. I do my best, but you can certainly have editing privileges if there's anything you want to add that I miss as I'm going along. I do go back and clean up the notes a little bit afterwards, or at least that's my intention. We are recording, and the recording will be added to the wiki within a day or two. I'll say by the end of the week. And I am watching chat, so we are a pretty big size group, but you're welcome to turn on your microphones if there's anything you want to talk about, and then turn them off when you're not talking, but I will watch chat as we go along. Quick run through the standing items. We are talking about 314, which is just in beta currently, which is why we're talking about Feedback Fest now. It just happens our meeting happened to fall during the week of Feedback Fest this month, so we're going to take advantage of it. As always, I just keep updated here on our agendas, the latest point releases. There have been 2 of them since we met last. Yes, I was watching the date. So 313.4 came out, 312.7 came out. And there are links to the release notes. We're not going to look at those specifically. We're going to focus on 314 today because we're excited to get in there and start looking at it ourselves. And all these other links are there, latest releases on the wiki that's updated. And the demo servers are still there, but today we're going to be looking at the community servers specifically for 314 that were released for Feedback Fest. So I'll skip over the development roadmap. We talked a little bit about that last month, but you can see the new features that are there, but we don't have to rely on the roadmap now because 314 is actually out as of last week for our testing purposes. So I did say I was going to skip through those rather quickly. Celebrations, Hackaway is coming up next month. We've talked about that. I'll keep that on our list, though, as it's something to celebrate. I will say, though, that is November 12th through the 14th. And for those of you that are watching that's the second week in November. That's also the week that we'll be meeting during the month of November. There's not really a way that we can, dial into the room where it's happening during Hackaway, but it certainly gives us something to think about when we're having conversations if we want to use all of our other tools to be able to communicate with the community while others are in the room in Hackaway. If, we have questions or if we want to, I don't know, put bugs in people's ears about things they might want to discuss while we're there, we'll be meeting early enough in that week if we want to take advantage of that. So we'll create an agenda that lends itself to that in November without making it full of any kind of particular program. But it is during the week of Hackaway. So if anybody plans to be there instead of here, or if you happen to be at Hackaway and want to join cataloging group during that time, you'll certainly be welcome. But we're not going to reschedule it because of that conflict. We will be having our meeting on the November 12th. Feedback Fest is going on now. And without lingering along too far, I did check to see if anybody had added their name to the cataloging map. Nobody new has added their location to the map, so I believe this is updated as of last month. If you're not familiar with the map, I won't make you watch this again because so many of you have seen this already, but there is a map of our locations as where we all live and or work. It's anonymous in that it doesn't have names, but it does have where we reside. So I just think this is kind of fun. We'll get this up on the wiki at this point. I'm hoping to release it for the new year. So if your location is not on that list, please check out the map and add your location there. And I'll get you added. Okay, I can't resist. Here's what the map looks like as of today. I was trying to resist. I talked too long about it. So here's our map. And Joseva's here. I want to make it small enough that we can see. There we are. Here's our map across the United States, Canada, and over into Europe. And if you are not there, all you have to do is add your name to the list, and I'll take care of it. Different parts of Canada, see all the way over to PEI, all the way over to the West Coast. We cover the coastal United States and Canada. And then I'm going to do this again to wave at Ava. Okay, there you go. I couldn't resist. But again, there's the list if you want to add your name. So let's pause and have you drop a note in chat, or if you can just make these changes yourself. Has anybody upgraded or has new plans since the last time we got together in September about moving to 313 or 314 or whatever your upgrade is? Joni, cool. We upgrade from 311 to 313 in November. That's just next month. That's exciting. Let me drop this little note. So it means in November or December we can hear from you. See how it went? I won't try to format it. Anybody else have any new news here? Let's see if there's anything that was going on in October. I don't think so. Al was supposed to upgrade in late October. So we'll check in on that. Okay. Oh, if there's anything I missed, let us know. And we've got the note that Pels is upgrading November-ish. And then some others planned for 2025. Okay, it's going along. I won't go through the Catalogers Connect so that we can get right into testing here. But if there's anything that is not accurate on this, I just pulled from the Unified Community Calendar all of our regular meeting dates. If any of these have shifted in October, November due to any kind of conflict, please update that or let me know and I will do so as well. We do just like to acknowledge all of the different interest groups and working groups that are going on as our fellow interest group community organizations. We applaud all the work you do and recognize that many of us work in more than one group. So again, I won't go through everything there. Is there any announcement for any of these groups that you'd like to make to the catalogers while we're here? Anything at all? Now's the time. Or you can drop a note on the calendar yourself. Okay, hearing none, we'll move along. Authorities Working Group does meet later this month. We leave that here because it's kind of a subset of the cataloging interest group. So this note is still not 9/12. We meet on the 10th. Okay, there we go. We are continuing to talk about that new headings report and what we're going to do with after this Marchive announcement. So we'll be continuing that conversations this month as well. Okay, skipping Launchpad bugs because we want to get to Feedback Fest. So let's get to Feedback Fest. I am again looking to see if there's anybody here that hasn't participated in Feedback Fest or bug squashing in any way. And if you have questions, please ask them. Because sometimes we take for granted that you'll be familiar with the jargon and some of the things, the quick testing protocol we go through. So I will watch for the meeting chat to see if anybody has any questions. Thought what we would start with though is open the release notes, see if there's anything particular we want to review, and then we'll go right in when we log into the test server. I do want to make sure we allow time for coming back to talk about this question that Katie submitted a week or two ago at this point about the Mark Enhanced editor. She even provided a nice little video to explain what some of her questions were, and it's more about what are our workflows as a community, what are your workflows, and to take a look at, while this is 313, I want to make sure we have time for that. So I will be conscious of the time. So let's look at 314. Let me go back. Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is in Feedback Fest, it's a little bit different than bug squashing because Feedback Fest, we want to test out the new features primarily because that's the fun thing to do, right? Is to see the new stuff that's coming, including upgraded buckets so we can get in there and start looking. We can report any new bugs that we find during this time. But the other thing that will be helpful to do even after our conversation ends today is to make sure that existing functionality and anything else is still working properly. So we want to make sure that nothing was accidentally broken or accidentally changed or accidentally left out. These are those regression bugs that get filed after something gets released. Sometimes we find something and go, wait, you lost something in the process of upgrading or changing. So it's important to test existing functionality. And please continue to do that if you have the opportunity this week. And then old Launchpad bugs to see if they're now fixed. Okay, so there's our mission. So the fun thing is what we're going to do first. So let's look at, what do you want to look at first? You want to look at buckets first, since we can? Anybody else want to drive this instead of me? You're welcome. I will turn over the sharing of the screen if anybody's here and wants to demo or look at anything in particular. I'll be glad to turn over the reins. Otherwise, I am going to log into the server and just start looking. Okay, so let's test server. Going to go to Taryn's server. Thank you very much, Taryn, as always. What's the login? Admin demo 123. So this is the one that has all of 314 on it for our testing purposes. I will say there's also a note in there about angular circulation, and we'll go back and talk about what that means. And in addition to the new features that are being fully released. First thing I noticed is this is in dark mode. Now I keep my screen typically in dark mode, which is why it's defaulted to this. It's also one of those things that when I first saw it, I thought perhaps I don't want Evergreen in dark mode. And so I had to go back to the release notes and figure out what I could do about that. Even though I find it very cool, there are times that I don't want that. So let's see what's going on with dark mode. Tells me that it's going to default to my operation system setting. That's the reason it's in dark mode, because that's what I have in general. But if I want to change it, there's this thing somewhere. Using the color mode selector in the navigation bar. Ah, there it is. It even has a little icon. Ooh, let's make that light instead. Yeah. There we go. I can see the green on the black now. It's the green on the black and my eyes don't work very well together. Ooh, we're back. But absolutely very kind of cool that you can do that, isn't it? So dark mode. Check that off the list. Okay, so what else do we want to look at? Let's look at release notes that are here. Buckets. You want to play with that again, or do we want to go through this? Well, let's just go to the top of the list. You can see I'm terribly prepared. I just thought we'd start talking. If there's anything you want to look at, we will do that. Hey, Mary, you want to talk about the option to require monograph parts? How do we do that?
It's a library setting.
There you go. So here's a library setting. Let's see if it's been turned on. What does that library setting do? Setting requires a patron to select a monograph part when placing hold if any parts exist on the record. Yep. Also require that all copies on bib record have a part. Setting is active. Woohoo. All righty. Let's change that setting and see what happens. I'm just going to Library Settings Editor, searching for that, pulled that directly out of the release notes. I think we talked about this last month or sometime earlier this year, that you can put that actual official setting name in the search bar there.
That's cool. I just typed menu and did a little fishing.
There you go. But if you've got it in the release note, you can copy it right out of the release note and voila. There you go. So this is set to true. Yep, so we don't need to do anything there. So let's find something with a part or give something a part. Ready Player One, is that what we're still doing as a group here? Which should not have a part, I get that. But
right.
Yeah. Probably not this. Let's see.
Try Downton Abbey. I'd added that this week, so maybe it's still there. Nope, not there. Sorry.
Spell. I'm like a lot of people. I'm misspell with downtown sometimes. Nope.
Okay. Try The Hobbit. I did that this morning. There we go.
Okay. 4 audio cassettes, 1 video disc, 4 audio cassettes. That's fascinating. All right. So here we are. There's 1 Blu-ray, 1 DVD, or 2 DVDs. Okay, here's one that already has 2 items on it. Do you have parts already on this one?
Yep,
disc 1 and disc 2. So what happens if I try to add something without a part? I wonder. So these are, you did these for BR1. Where am I logged in? I'm also logged in at BR1.
Yeah. You get this exciting red mark on the part field, meaning it's required.
But what happens if I ignore the exotic?
It won't let you, you see how the buttons at the bottom
are all grayed out? I can do nothing. And I have to do this. I'm sorry, this distress. Okay. There we go. Now I can actually see.
That feels better.
That feels much better. Okay. So we don't have template. Oh, I actually do. So I've done all of that. I'm ready to save. Nope, no. Nope. will not let me save, protecting me from myself.
Mm-hmm. So
Very
if you're
nice.
circulating both together, we do box set to do as a catch-all. So you could type in box set and create a part right there.
I'm guessing you have capitalization rules, but I'm just
I
gonna,
do I do little letters.
yeah,
I
yes, that's what I was
don't
gonna
know,
do. Okay.
they're more pleasing to me.
And so now it's green, and I have my screen. It's
Mhm.
I have it enlarged. So that is the reason you can't see that whole field right there. But anyway, so box set. Now can I save? Actually, I can't.
What's it missing?
I don't know. It's got a weird call number, but that's okay. It's got a barcode. Apply to template. It's got hmm, needs a cert mod.
Try it now, Jennifer. I think it switched.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think the buttons are okay now.
Hmm. Is that odd? What did I change that it liked? I don't know. We don't have cert mods in the concerto data set here,
Right,
apparently.
right.
Okay. And I'm not going to go in and clean that up, even though I'd very much like to. That's not the point. All righty. See what we got.
Where's your item?
Where is my item? Gone.
Well, that's odd.
That's not nice at all. It really is gone.
Those are the two I added today.
Well, let's try that again. Add holding. All right. It didn't save my box set.
No, should have.
Yeah. Maybe I didn't tab out of that to save it. Okay.
There we go.
So tab is important. Apparently it didn't save my part until I tabbed out of it. But it still let me hit apply. Maybe I was just bouncing around the screen a little too much. Let's try that again. Add holdings. Just to test the functionality, I'm going to do all disk, even though I know we don't like that label.
Yeah, that's what a box set is. It's all the discs.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So tabbing is important. Let's do it without me tabbing one more time. See what happens. All together is what we're going to call it, just for fun. All together now. Okay, I'm not tabbing. I'm going to go to apply my template. It looks like it saved that time up there.
It turned green
Yep, that was just a fluke the first time.
just because
Too
you
much
had
bounce.
people watching you.
Precisely. Thank you all very much. There we go. Yep, all together box set. There we are. Can't do what you're not supposed to do. Most lovely. And again, it's determined by that library setting, so you'd have to make
Hmm.
sure that's set in your systems. If we wanted to fully test it, which is not what today is, we're just demoing it, you just go in and turn that off, and it should be back to the old way. Okay, that's exciting. What else do we want to look at? Option to require monograph parts is so nice. We've still got the hole you have to, when you're placing a hold.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's there already.
Excuse me, but it doesn't prevent you from creating a part that's not exactly the same.
No, it does not. Maybe that's the next wish list that comes out of this. But no, you can still just see if I go back to monograph parts, you can still do them outside of adding an item. You can
Mhm.
come in here, but no, there's
Right. I
nothing
mean,
in there.
that's always been true. Two places to do it.
Yeah, and this
Plan
certainly has.
ahead or do it on the fly.
Yep. Or you can come back and manage it, if you decide that you didn't like, all
Yeah,
together
I could
and
say
get
we could
merged.
merge all together and all discs and box set all together.
Hmm. And we want to use box set. There we go. A little easy cleanup.
Hmm.
This is existing functionality. This isn't new in 314.
Yeah. Where I'm going to run into trouble is I've got a library, maybe two, that puts the parts on their magazines,
Hmm.
and I can't have that if because I can't. I don't want to force everybody to do that. It's
Right.
supposed, I think they're trying to help their patrons place holds, but I really think there's a better way to go on that. And I can't have the majority of the libraries who don't add, it's pretty much the date of the issue in as a part. I can't have the majority all of a sudden not being able to add their magazines.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, but we've got a ways before we get to implement this, so I can
Yeah.
work on that.
Yeah.
Educate them and remove those parts.
Right. And other libraries that do use parts for that reason because they're theoretically their library users can place holds on a
Right.
particular issue that way. Yeah. So I
I
can
just
see
don't
the
know how much hold placing there is on magazines anyway.
yeah, and I'd very much like to see statistics on that. But yeah. I loved it when it came out. I thought, oh, this is great. And then I'm with you now years later, I'm thinking, are people doing this? It's a good question.
If they use serials, they have the option of an issues hold, but
Hmm.
again, minority using
Right.
serials.
Which I think is how monograph parts as a workaround came to be. Speaking of serials, for those of you that do use it, Quick Receive is back.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I don't think we have serials in here. We have something that's pretending to be a serial. So let's see. Yeah, there we go. So if you go to serials now,
I have one,
Quick Receive
excuse
right
me, I have
there.
one more question. I have,
Yes. Sorry, Janet, I bounced way too
I have
quickly.
one
I'll go
more,
back.
that's okay. I have one more question on adding the parts.
Hmm.
One thing that happened a couple of years ago when I was there was that if you wanted, let's see, if you had multiple items, can't remember what it was. You, if you added, oh, never mind. Go ahead and do your quick receive. I'll
No, I
try and
think
remember
let's
what I was gonna say. It
let's
wouldn't,
see if I
it
can add
wouldn't
two.
add the part, it wouldn't add the part. It would create the part like part one, but it wouldn't add it to all of the items. It only added it to the one item that you created it for because the part didn't exist until you actually created
Ah,
one.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, if you have multiple parts, you can't. You could create part one, but if you try to create part two on the same screen, it didn't work.
I
so if we
don't
want
think
to
it
do
was,
just three, disc four, like that.
Yeah, I think. But see, I fixed that. Oh no,
But
I'm sorry. That's still not what I meant.
mm,
If you have
that's not
two
what
that
I
were
meant
both
either.
disk three, that's what.
because
Yes,
it's not there.
it only,
Right.
for libraries that were cataloging, for a library that was cataloging for multiple branch libraries,
Hmm.
and it wanted to add this one to three copies, it only added it to the first one.
Hmm.
Oh, got
I
it.
think that because it didn't
Right.
exist until you saved that.
Yeah. Yep. And it didn't allow me that time either. It didn't tell me why it didn't. It
Hmm.
just quietly did nothing
I'll have to
when
play
I
with that.
tried to create both with disk three.
Well, this is why the monograph parts tab is a good place to do. If you know ahead of time you're going to be cataloging a bunch of part ones, you can create part one there, and then you can apply it to all the extra copies of it.
Yeah. It's good to remember that Madison says she's got the same thing happening in 311. This isn't new
Mm.
workflow here, but yeah, having to manually create them first because you get on that screen and you want to use that screen without backing up
Yeah,
to do it.
and most of the time you can, but
Yeah, so even if we like dig holdings view for adding for multiple records here, let's say if we're adding for show empty libraries there. Let's just show everything, these. Okay. So where's BR2? Let's add for BR2 and BRM. So presumably we'd have the same issue here. Okay, so barcode. Yeah, so if I add disk 3 here, I can't add, I mean, I can attempt to, but it won't save it. Is that what we're talking about here? I'm trying to add it for 3 different libraries and add disk 3 for all 3 of them. It just brings me back to the screen over and over because the parts didn't. Yep, it won't let me do that. Okay, that's one of those things that we'll see. Do we know if there's a, because this is existing, do we know if there's a Launchpad bug for this already? If somebody can find it, I'll put it in the notes, or I can look later. Launchpad for
I,
creation, or at
I
least
think I either added a bug or gave heat to a bug.
I think at minimum it'd be nice to know why it didn't save. Because right now I'm just stuck in a loop. It tells me it's red, but yeah. What if we're creating multiple? Okay, and Madison says, I'd also love one day if you could batch apply a part. Yes, because right now we did that quick batch apply the call number. You saw how easy that was. Yeah, no part in the batch apply. Let's see if there's a launch pad for that one too. Go back to notes here. Discussion. Autograph parts. Launch pad. Things. Okay.
Because you can can't you batch apply like a item note?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
For different libraries.
I know when I've tried a batch applying to add an item tag, I made a mess. And it created multiples of that tag in the tag table.
Oh man. And thank you. Addison, let's grab these launch pads. Here. They're there already, so add heat and notes. There you are. First one is add field on line item batch updater to add parts. Specifically what we're talking about. Thanks, Tiffany. So, while we're here and all, it does indeed affect me. And the other one? Adding the same new part to more than one item, so that's worded much nicer than what I did. Oh, it looks like there was a little bit of work on it for a while. And
I thought I'd heard discussion about it. That's why I thought, well, maybe this will work now, but
it needs a bit more work as of November of last year.
okay.
Okay. So that might be worth, bringing
Can you
that
look at the
conversation back up.
Z3950 screen?
You want me to go back and sure, glad to. Where am I? Doesn't matter where I start from. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know everybody else can get access to that's my OCLC login. But anyway,
Okay. You want me to take it out of there, Mary?
Yeah, take it out as the default.
Yeah. I'm just going to take it out completely.
I didn't know it was going to be saved to everybody.
No, I didn't either. Okay, it's gone.
Okay. Well, the problem I'm seeing is Well, first of all, I'd rather have those reversed.
Mhm.
Search on the left and the setup on the right, but that's neither here nor
That's what we're
there.
used to, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the problem for me has been the clear form button. It when I go to clear the form, it clears out the choices and the credentials too.
Ah, I see.
They come back if you leave this screen and come back in again, but that's kind of annoying.
So if you've saved it as your default, so I'm just doing
Right.
the first two as my default. I leave the screen. I come back. C3950. It
And they're
saved
there.
it. But
Now,
if I
if
clear
you're,
form,
yeah,
gone.
they're gone.
Ah,
Yeah.
yep.
So you'd have to like leave and come back to get them back if that's for those two, it's two quick check boxes and that's no big deal. But for the OCLC login, that was kind of annoying to have to
Pretty
keep
significant.
resetting that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's not the expected behavior. In
Nope.
311, when you clear form, you're clearing the search form and you're not touching the credential side. So I think we have a boo-boo there.
Yep. Okay. I'm taking notes on paper too, so I can go back and grab
Yeah.
that. This uses default we don't have there. I like the note on there that says where it's used by. That's really handy
Mm.
when you select multiple ones. Okay. We'll check for that and see if it's been reported. What else do we want to look at? We've got monograph parts. Well, we haven't looked at buckets again yet. C3950. This is just the.
Trisha, I agree with you. It is weird, and I wish I could have some control to put them back the way I want them, but
It is. It's kind of reading from right to left now, isn't it? Is what it feels like.
exactly,
Just with the
exactly.
anybody. Well, I don't know how to word that correctly. What does Gary ask? Can you refresh? Not a solution, but maybe a better workaround. So let's try that out. So there's my default, and I'm going to search for Horowitz. Okay, and let's just actually. Where's my search bar? Why is that not working? Smith. Oh, see, and even my buttons in the. I am what you call disoriented because of the whole left-right thing there. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've done that. So Gary asked, what happens if you just refresh?
Well, first you need to clear the form to really test this,
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, if I
and then
just
try
refresh,
refresh to see if they come back.
okay, let's try that again then. Horowitz, Horowitz. I think what we did that time by refreshing essentially cleared the form.
Yeah, but let's try the clear form button. And how aggressive is
Come
it?
back. Okay, so we'll clear the form now.
Right? And
It takes away my
right.
things over
Now
there.
try the refresh to see if those come back. They do.
Came back. It's a good workaround, Gary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, when did that use default get checked over there? I don't recall checking that.
Could have been me.
Oh, good job. No, it's good to know that actually. I don't like that kind of gremlin. Okay, yeah. So this feels like driving on the other side of it.
Yes. Yeah. We're in England now.
Yeah, which works. But yeah, yeah. That but okay. It would take a little while. So, but the clear form I think is a genuine issue, especially that having to type in SDLC over and over would be.
Hmm.
The refresh is a workaround. Stephanie says it would be super easy to flip it back around if someone would like to file a bug on the left-right issue. Who's volunteering to file a bug on the left-right issue? I need it to be someone, not me.
I guess it could be me because it really bugs me a lot.
Here you go, Mary. If you file
Or
it, I'll
Trisha, I
confirm
could
it.
defer to you, since you feel the same way.
So thanks, Mary. Appreciate it. Ava says, I would expect the submit button be on the same page as the search form instead of Instead of scrolling,
Yeah,
you mean?
you're right, because they were together. It was like underneath the search form, but now you got to reach over for it after you've done your search. You've
Mm-hmm.
filled in your search.
Yeah, let's look at,
It's another reason to reverse it back.
go back and grab a community server and look at 3.12 real quick. Demo 1, 2, 3. And I haven't logged in today, I know.
Yeah, it's in 313 this way as well.
Yeah, so it's 313. So I'll have to go back a little further. But because I haven't selected anything, that's when the button gets pushed off the screen, is when I start collecting things. Tricia says, I wouldn't mind left, right so much as the search button was under the form. Yeah.
I'd still be bugged by the left-right thing. Because I feel I have to go all the way across the screen to go do my search.
Mm-hmm.
And I know
Because
that
you're not,
sounds silly, but it's
time matters.
the fields I'm most active with are out of reach, where the other ones I don't touch that much, so they can just be off to the right and out of
Yeah.
my way.
You're right. You're having to go across the screen to even begin to what you're
Mm-hmm.
completing the form. See it? Stephanie, that's not silly. However, you should be able to press enter in any field to submit the search without going down to hit submit. That's a good point. So if I type in Horowitz again, I should just be able to hit enter. Should be able to press enter. Okay. But it doesn't see my results, so then I still have to scroll to see my results. Let's refresh and see what I just did. If I was clicking around too much, let's try that again. So Horowitz. So now I hit enter. What's happening below my screen that I can't see is the search was completed. So I have to scroll. Whereas if I go and hit submit, then I see. Yeah. It's a workflow thing.
Well, I know I'm not working anymore, but it would be very nice to be able to choose which search boxes that you use all the time and have those be the only ones that showed up in your search query panel.
So now you're putting together a whole new wish list. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We're just moving on. We're like, this is great. What's next? So Janet's wish list. You want a template. That's what you want. You want a search query template.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Never going to use publisher. Why are you showing me publisher?
Right. Because if you never search with subject,
Mm-hmm.
I doubt many people are searching by subject.
Right.
Probably not.
Publisher I do use, especially for classical
Yeah.
novels. I want to get
Right.
to the right Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, we use publisher quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a bad example. Okay, but you want to be able, much like we do on our holdings editor, we can just go in and choose the fields we want, hide them,
Yeah.
turn them off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it. So a local preference for search query. So either template or local preferences, really.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two different things. Okay. You prefer local preferences or templates? Or whatever's easiest. Whatever accomplishes that goal. Okay, I just wrote down something. I can't read my writing. Local preference. Oh, that word actually said template. Okay. Query template. That's what handwriting says. Okay. There we are.
And this is really, really nitpicky, but
that's what we're good at.
The column management for changing the size. Let's go down and have a look. Instead of having the arrows, let's click on that gear. Okay. You don't have the arrows anymore to resize your columns. Instead, you have to go to Manage Columns. If you click on that, and you tell it in how many characters width you want.
Oh, and I can't just do it by the column this time?
No, you can't drag it there, but the back on the table you can
Drag and drop.
drag. You can't you yeah, you just drag that little
Do
bar
that.
Yeah.
like that.
But it wasn't intuitive. It's not consistent with how other columns are managed. So I was taking it back to have to explore and find those. I could say, okay, ISBN make it 14 spaces, so it made it wide.
Oh, got it. Oops. My mouse is going crazy.
And the drag and drop is a work in progress for me.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm so clumsy in doing that kind of thing. I'll admit, I still do go back and use what you're doing there to do the thing, even though this is incredibly handy if I just want to switch to around.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you set record to 1, that's could be.
Yeah, that could be the problem.
Huh?
Just creating trouble
Yeah, that's
myself.
not going to be great.
It's just
The
silly.
the character-based width is very much intended as a fallback there in case dragging is not working well, and really
Right.
for people who don't use a mouse much.
Well, you spoke earlier about standardizing things, and this is not standard to the how other column management screens are. There's usually you say resize, and then you get the arrows, and you can click on the arrows to resize your thing. So it's definitely a different direction.
This is standard throughout the new Angular screens now. The old
Oh,
one may still be there in Angular JS, but those screens are going away. So this is going to be the standard.
okay, well, I have some educating of my staff to do.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's what I was just checking. I couldn't find a single one that would contradict anything Stephanie just said. Yeah, every screen I'm looking at now in the new Angular, is that the right way to say that? New Angular is that it does have it all. It's all pretty
Okay.
standard.
Well, my bad for not exploring other ones. I was just going by.
But you're right. Right now there is a hybrid, but it's just because all the
Mhm.
screens haven't been updated yet.
And I know that's frustrating. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And my arthritis hands in trying to do this is not working right now. Okay, there we go. Ha ha. I'm not gonna push it too far there. Okay.
I will tell you that really I put the character-based width in there after Jennifer and Lena were telling me that so many of the barcodes were always cut off and that
Mm-hmm.
we needed to have a minimum standard for all the barcodes, but we don't have a consistent name for those in the IDL, so I couldn't just set a rule. But I was like, okay, I'll at least give you the option to just type in a certain number of characters. So if you have something like that where you
Yeah,
know
because
it's always going to be a certain size,
it's
you
because at
can
least now
do
it
it
wraps
directly.
it. Though I mean, in the previous
Yeah.
versions, you couldn't even see that you weren't copying the whole barcode if it was cut off. So that's definitely an improvement. Being able to see that there's more to it. Oh, okay, that's my note. That we got 10 minutes. I do want to talk about. We're getting lots of. Well, Christine loves the drag and drop. See, even my arthritis hands are doing a very good job of it today. Here's what I like. Ready? Woo! Haha! Moved it. That's my favorite part. I
Mhm.
can resize with the other thing, but I do like it. Okay, little things. They're not little things. They're quality of life things. All right, let's talk about this really quickly then. Katie's message. I don't know if anybody got my agenda, a whole like 45 minutes in advance, but this, I want to talk a little bit about the enhanced mark editor, and this is about the up and down arrows. I think I watched her video ever so quickly about using the up and down arrows. I'm just going to read this. If you have your cursor in the marked tag or indicator spots and use up and down, your cursor moves with the selected text box. If you tab over to the subfields, the up or down will move you to the marked tag above or below. So it does different things depending on where you are. So let's find the Hobbit. And I get it. Okay, so here we are. Oof, 40s go away. So if I am here, I can't up and down arrow anymore. Well, I can, but it takes me to the tips here. So that's the only thing I'm able to do. If I tab over, Let's find something else where I can tab over here. Tab, tab, tab. Slow. All right, so now, nope, subfield. Okay, I'm going to pick another record. That one does not like me. Okay, there we go. Let's do this instead. Now that's easier to work with. So down just takes me to the tips here. So if instead I'm tabbing over, she was saying that now you have to go tab. Still, I can't go up and down in my arrows. That's what I'm trying to do. Tab, up, down, arrows. Nope. Tab. So essentially you have to go over, 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 down, over, 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 down, over, 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 down. That's what Katie's saying now. So if you were just trying to go down a row, that's the new workflow. So her question is this expected behavior? Do you like this behavior? See, I
That's
can't go down.
broken.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I've been meaning to email Katie back for a week.
It's fine.
The up and down arrows are supposed to work in here, but she's right that it's inconsistent. So when you're in a
Yeah.
combo box, which is one of those things with the drop down,
Mm-hmm.
it won't work to move to a different row because you're getting your suggestions.
Right. So how will it work when you get your suggestions, but you also just want to use your keyboard to go down?
You would have to tab out of the combo box and then go down,
Okay. So you are definitely going to have to tab out of it,
at
but
least
maybe
once.
not, but not all the way over.
Right, but so once you tabbed once and you got the 008 values, from
Mhm.
there you should be able to press the down arrow and go to the next tab.
Instead of going all the way over to the A
Right,
something. So
right.
the
So that's
indicators
not
don't
working.
work doing that. Is that because the indicators also, let's go down to one that is also
The,
a combo box?
yes.
Okay. So
So
A is
that's
the first
working.
non-combo box.
Right. Now
Okay.
the other thing that's different is that the multi-line fields behave differently, and that's because you do need to be able to use your up and down arrow to move around within the text
Yep.
of the big paragraph. So
Like
the
this.
down
Yeah.
arrows won't work while you're in a big box.
Yeah. So if I wanted to, yeah. So I need to be
Right.
able to go up and down
Right.
and
And
change
that's
stuff.
intentional.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but so we do have to work on this a little bit, and I'm so sorry that they're broken. We did spend
Oh,
a
no,
lot
no,
of
no.
time thinking about keyboard functionality and
Absolutely.
navigation and trying to make it work. Um, and I know that there's some
It's
glitches with
fabulous. Hmm.
the old right-click menus still appearing, and I need to get a fix out for that this week so that we can get that patched up. That's definitely just a bug.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't forget.
You can,
I've had it on my to-do list to write a reply for a week now, and I'm putting
hey,
out too many
that's the
fires.
reason we all come together is to remind us of things we need to do.
Oh,
Everybody
thank
here
you.
knows that's true about me. Like, oh, I was supposed to do that last month. I'll do it this month.
But I'll shut up now because I definitely do want to hear more about how you all are using the keyboard navigation and what you would like it to do that it is not currently doing.
Okay. I'll go back. I can try it. Anybody else want to direct me? Anybody else here using the Mark Advanced Editor other than fixed fields? See, did we capture? I think we captured all of her questions. And we know that we still owe some documentation about the enhanced Mark Editor. Know that that is also in the works. Oops, where'd it go? I don't know where I went. I went out of the place. Yeah, nope. We've opened a lot of screens today. Yes, I'm leaving. Okay, here we are. Yeah, well, that was a quick answer.
Well, I'm going to go back and double check too, because really with the drop downs, you're supposed to be able to use the arrows to get to the next row if the suggestions are not open.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So like right now, your suggestions are open and you need to be able to use the arrows to go from one suggestion to the next. But
Yeah,
once
and
you've
I
selected something and the
so
suggestions close, then you should be able to
mm,
arrow down.
Nope.
And you can't. That's just
No.
broken. I will fix that.
And if I click in it, it automatically opens.
Correct.
If I tab into it, it does not automatically open. But I have to tab through all of that stuff to get back there.
Right.
Yeah, but if I'm a tabber, yeah, I still can't uppy downy.
And there
Going
is
back.
also an issue with the left and right arrows. You're supposed to be able to left and right across the subfields, and I don't think that you
Yep.
can quite do
That's
that
what I
right
was
now.
just trying.
Yeah. So there's two
Yep.
separate bugs there with arrow keys.
Okay.
Well,
Got it.
and I'm going to point out there's also a really unintuitive thing about keyboard shortcuts, and this is true in both Mark Editor and the grids.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that we have keyboard shortcuts that are defined in 3 different ways across the Angular screens, and this drives me insane. But some of them are only available in the smallest, most atomic piece of the interface that you are working with. So, like
Mm-hmm.
when you're in a subfield value, there may be keyboard shortcuts that are available in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the one for adding or inserting a subfield after? It's like Control I. Yeah,
Okay. Control I. Nope. There
there
you
you
go.
go.
Mm-hmm.
And it added 2. That's another bug. Um, if you clicked somewhere else outside of the subfields areas and then hit Control I, it will not work.
No,
Or
I
it
was in.
does there.
No, I was
Um,
in. I
I
was in
think
an
if you
indicator.
click into the help and like say you highlighted something in the help area,
Yeah.
yeah, like if you press Control I somewhere that's not a subfield, it will not work.
Okay.
And so there are sort of like very localized keyboard shortcuts, and then there are the ones that do kind of pay attention to the whole window, and they're different, and there's no indication to you, the user, which one is which. So I need to file a bug to have the developers standardize the way we do keyboard shortcuts,
Yep.
so that it's a little more obvious which ones are global and which ones are super, super localized. So I think in grids, you're supposed to be able to hit Control S to save your grid settings, if I remember correctly, but I don't think it's working. And it definitely does not work if you have clicked out into the margins somewhere and
Mm-hmm.
you're not in the grid itself. It definitely doesn't work and never has. So that's one of the ones that is kind of specific to, you have to be focused in a certain area for it to work.
Okay. See, there are things we didn't even know were broken. You're telling us. And we'll find, because I think there's already a Launchpad bug talking about this kind of navigation, isn't there?
I believe so.
Okay, we'll find that and add that. I know that.
It's Joe from Christine Labonte's office is calling to confirm your 9 o'clock appointment for tomorrow, Wednesday, October 9th. If you can please give our office a call back to confirm this appointment. Telephone number here is 203-308.
I muted Mary. Okay, so we'll look for the navigation Launchpad bug to share. And I know it's top of the hour, so others have to go to other interest group meetings. This was great. Thank you all for being here and for taking time to go through all this. Stephanie, thank you for being here and answering some of our questions on the spot. That's very, very, very helpful. So I will get Launchpad bugs added to our notes, clean up the notes a little bit, and get them posted to the wiki. And see ya next month, November 12th. And have fun with Feedback Fest. You don't have to stop playing around in the system just because we're done. So enjoy for the rest of the week. Thank you all so very, very much. I will stop recording and hang around for a few minutes if anybody has any questions for me.